Hi, I'm Charlie Richie. I'm a former police officer and a multiple world record holder. Here at Kabuki Strength, I handle all of our military, police, and fire sales, as well as manage our customer service division. Today, I'd like to introduce you to the Kabuki Strength Duffalo Bar, and I'm going to do so with my friend here, Coach Brandon.
Coach Brandon here, Director of Education Media at Kabuki Strength. Today, what are we talking about, Charlie?
I'm going to talk about what you just showed us, which is how some of us with high mileage shoulders have a tough time getting under a straight bar when it comes to squatting, and how we've made a bar that's going to make it a lot more comfortable. So as a former police officer, military enthusiast, tactician, and current gym rat, I have shoulder issues. And a lot of people out there in those communities are suffering from the same thing, that it's really hard to get under a straight bar. It just doesn't feel good. So what is it about the curvature of the Duffalo bar that's making it easier for me to use this bar?
Yeah, join the club. There are so many individuals out there that are dealing with consistent and extreme shoulder pain and dysfunction, and it causes them a slew of different issues. And unfortunately, this pain dysfunction oftentimes ends up carrying over into the bench press and ruining their bench press as well, creating compensatory movement patterns that then causes a legitimate injury, which I see time and time again. So what we have to understand is that a straight bar actually has a really high demand on external rotation and flexion mobility within the shoulder. That's what the straight bar requires lots of. And when we don't have enough of it, but we force a low bar squat position, your joints end up taking an absolute beating. Your shoulder, your elbow, your wrist. And again, this pain accumulates, this stress accumulates, and it turns into a legitimate injury that's a real concern. With the Duffalo bar, it takes away that demand of shoulder mobility and takes away the stress that usually occurs with a straight bar. So getting under this Duffalo bar is an immediate relief. No longer is your shoulder, elbow, and wrist dealing with that pain and dysfunction, so making it so that you can typically handle a higher amount of squat intensity, of squat volume, and that pain and dysfunction doesn't carry over into other movements like the bench press.
So it puts me in a position a little more quickly than it would under a straight bar, and I'm going to be in the right position to squat?
Absolutely, with less pain, less dysfunction.
Excellent. So I also really like this bar for bench press. As the current open world record holder for the bench, I never have a sticking point right at the base of the lift. My sticking point is much, much higher, and I think that's because I do train with this bar. I know that I've heard that it's going to increase my push-up numbers as well, but it's also an excellent bar for people who have to create more strength in that area, like wrestlers, correct?
Absolutely, yeah. So for powerlifting, I think about the Duffalo bench press almost like a deficit deadlift. You will never see somebody that gets strength adaptations within a larger range of motion, and those adaptations don't carry over into their competition standard range of motion. So what I'm getting at here is by training within the larger range of motion this Duffalo bar provides, you gain much better adaptations around producing force better off the chest and carrying over to a better straight bar bench press you'd find in a powerlifting competition. But the benefits far surpass that. The extra range of motion also provides one of the best hypertrophy stimulation possible for bench press training. There is a slew of studies that show clear benefit that the range of motion of a movement is one of the most important factors in facilitating hypertrophy. But if we take a step away from powerlifting and hypertrophy and get into sports-specific training, for most sports, whether we're talking about wrestling, MMA, jiu-jitsu, football even, the demands of your pressing strength do not start or end here. Instead, they require deeper ranges of motion, additional elbow flexion. You have to be able to produce force and gain stability, have good motor control and larger ranges of motion to really actually experience the totality of benefits of bench pressing and your training, which this Duffalo bar actually provides. By having to go through a larger range of motion, your body has adaptations that carries over better to sport-specific demands. But furthermore, since your body's now comfortable going through those larger ranges of motion, you're less likely to experience injury in those sport-specific demands as well.
That's what I was going to say. When I do bench press, I do notice that it's really hard for me to get out of position when I use this bar, because it's really hard to bring this bar too high. And obviously we know bringing a bench press bar too high often is what creates an injury. So there's something specific about the bar that keeps it lower, that puts it in the correct position on my chest?
Absolutely, yeah. And additionally, the curvature of the bar really helps. I've found it to be so much easier to stack your joints to achieve really good joint centration during pressing movements with this barbell. You'll find a lot, especially newer lifters, 1 rep they'll touch here, 1 rep they'll touch here with a straight bar. But with a Duffalo bar, what you'll find with newer lifters especially, but even lifters that are well experienced, you'll find their touch point is incredibly consistent, and they find it easier to row that barbell into the chest and again experience the best joint centration possible.
Here at Kabuki Strength, we like to create equipment that keeps you moving safely and more efficiently under weight. So remember, if you're not competing, there's really no reason to be using a straight bar. Also, you can go to our website at kabukistrength.com and take a look at all the different bars that we make, as well as our coaching, education, and our updated movement library, which is now called Open Training. My tip of the week, check out our blemish page. You never know what came back from plating with a little scratch, abrasion, or discoloration that you can pick up for a discount. If you're actually putting in work under the bar, you're not going to care what it looks like.